Welcome aboard the Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon podcast, where we're dedicated to helping first-time and experienced boaters find the right boat at the best price and ensure all boaters have years and years of happy boating fun because life truly is better on a boat. Today's podcast is sponsored by the First Time Boat Buyers Academy, so you can find the perfect boat at the lowest possible price and buy with 100% confidence. For a short video, visit boatbuyerssecretweapon.com/academy. I reference some graphs and charts in this podcast. You can visit the Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon YouTube channel to view all of those resources. Now, let's hop aboard and have some fun. Welcome to Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon. I'm your host, Captain Matt. And today we're talking about things that many people just don't allow on their boat. So if you're a new boater, some things to think about. If you're going out with some friends, some things to avoid. So number one, you all knew it was coming, was those orange dust that come on the Cheetos and the Doritos and the cheese balls and the goldfish. All of those things, you get it on your hands. It gets wiped on the upholstery. It gets smashed into the flooring and can be very, very difficult to get out. And because it's orange, it can stain. So if you've got little kids, you need to bring them snacks. Bring something that doesn't have the orange dust on it. Get the Cool Ranch flavored Doritos. Get regular potato chips or pretzels. Pretzel rods are great. Something that's not going to leave some sort of color, some dust where you get it all over your hands and then you touch all over the boat and it gets everywhere. Next is red wine. You got some people that they want to have a nice glass of wine on the cruise. Man, that red wine is very, very hard to get out. Leave the red wine at home. Go with the white. Get something that's not going to leave a stain if it's going to spill, because it's likely going to spill. The boat's rocking and rolling, and it's just a matter of time before a little something or a lot of something gets on the rug. Same thing goes with red drinks, especially kids' drinks. You know the lid's going to get left off. God forbid it doesn't have a lid. That is going to spill, and that red is just very, very difficult to get out. So leave the red drinks at home. We put the clear Capri Suns. That's what we bring on our boat. They've got the straw. You don't get that sugary spill all over the place. You don't have any color when it does spill. And I can promise you it will spill, drip, or leak somewhere. It's just bound to happen on a boat that's rocking and rolling and when you're out having a good time. Next is the chocolate. Listen, you're on the boat. It's hot. You say, well, I'll just bring M&Ms. They melt in your mouth, not in your hands. But you've got wet little hands. If you're like my kids, they can't dry their hands off before they dig into the bag of chips or the snacks or whatever it is. It's going to be wet. You've got that color all over the hands. And what's going to happen? They're going to put it on the seat. They're going to put it everywhere. And it's very, very difficult to get out of that upholstery. If you're a smoker, I hate to tell you, most people aren't going to allow you to smoke on the boat. You're going, there's a breeze, those ashes, the embers, they're going to ultimately land on the carpet, land on the upholstery, and burn a hole. If they, God forbid, they open up the throttle a little bit, even if you're sitting in the back holding it on the edge, there can sometimes be a little flow back into the boat. It's happened more than once in my world, in my experience. So leave the smokes at home. Maybe if you need to bring them, ask permission before you go and light up, and maybe just do it when you're out in the water floating, when you're off the boat, if you really got to have it. The plastic bags. Hey, I know it's easy to run to the grocery store, get your snacks, and bring it in the plastic bags, but those plastic bags are just too easy to blow out, to get in the water. One, they're going to sink pretty quickly because they fill up with water, and then you can't grab them. And two, they're just terrible for the environment. So leave the plastic bags at home. Pack in my wife has like 5 different boat bags, just the hard plastic, really durable with a flat bottom on it. So they sit and you can get them in places and they're nice and sturdy, a lot of space. If you absolutely have to go to the store to bring your snacks, see if you can get a paper bag. That's going to be a much better situation, much less likely to blow out because you can tuck them in and they're not going to just catch the wind like a parachute and be gone. Now, I know you may love your Zima. It's a little something different. It's nice and refreshing out in the hot water, but leave your glass bottles at home. Try to use cans. You say, hey, I won't drop it. I won't break it. What's the big deal? Well, it's a boat. There's naked feet all the time. That may even be a rule on that particular boat. And when you throw those in the trash can, which is a trash bag usually, they're going to clang around and they're likely to break in there. If somebody doesn't know there's a bottle in, they changing out the trash and you set it down, it could break. It's too much of a risk to have the drink in a glass bottle. Find something that's in a can, in a plastic bottle, so that you're not bringing glass on board. Now, if you have to have a Zima, find the Zima in the cans. Next is those little styrofoam coolers. You're heading to the lake with some friends. You're like, I need to put this in a cooler, but I know I've got 10 coolers at home. I just forgot it. I'm going to pick up this little plastic one or this little styrofoam cooler. Well, don't do it because one, that lid's going to blow off into the water. Two, by the end of the day, somebody's going to have kicked a hole in it. It's going to fall apart. What you should do, bring the ice, bring the drinks, and talk to whoever you're going out with and say, hey, can I put this in your cooler? Or just bite the bullet and buy a real cooler with a real lid that's not going to blow off, because I guarantee there are thousands and thousands of styrofoam lids that have blown in water all over the country, and it's going to happen. There's no way it's not going to happen, and that cooler is probably going to fall apart by the end of the day. So just spend a few extra bucks, get a real cooler, or find out if you can put your drinks and the ice in somebody else's cooler. A big one for a lot of people is the spray sunscreen. I love the spray sunscreen. It's easy to put on my girls. It's easy to put on myself, but it can leave stains. There's something in the propellant in the sunscreen that leaves stains, and it's a weird little pattern that it can leave on the boat upholstery, and it's really hard to get out. You almost have to just let it sit in the sun. So leave the spray sunscreen at home, or at a minimum, put it on away from the boat where it's not going to get on any of the upholstery. And if the owner of the boat says no spray sunscreen, then go ahead and just get yourself a tube of Bullfrog or whatever it is that you use, because there's a real reason for it. It's not just a dumb rule. It really causes problems, and I've learned that from experience. Next is red clothing. Now, if you do have any new clothing, this goes for any swimsuit, t-shirt, or towel, don't go out and buy a brand new one and bring it on somebody's boat. Make sure you wash that thing several times to get that color set, because what happens is it gets a little bit wet, the t-shirt gets wet, the swimsuit gets wet, the towel gets wet, and it sits on the upholstery, it sits on the flooring. That transfer, it just happens. I've seen, I can't tell you how many boats where there's a little spot and they're like, yep, Susie wore a red swimsuit, sat on the thing, she didn't realize it. She sat right on the upholstery and it left this mark, and it's been there ever since we've had the boat. It happened the first weekend we were out. So if you've got something new and it's especially red, red transfers easier and is more visible than most colors. Make sure that you wash it up a couple of times, and then make sure that if you do have a newer swimsuit on, just sit on a towel. Try to avoid bringing anything red that's newer. If you've got a 10-year-old red t-shirt, that might be okay, but it will transfer, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's really, really difficult to get those colors out other than just let it sit in the sun and hope that it fades, because you can't scrub it out. Now, this one, I don't have a problem with it, but there's a big superstition with bananas in boats. They say that, one, it causes, the bad juju is going to happen and your boat's going to break down, or the fish aren't going to bite. And it goes back to an old superstition where a boat would sink carrying bananas, and the only thing they would find were the floating bananas, because bananas float. Another version of it goes that the bananas brought in poisonous spiders, banana spiders, I think is what they were called. And people would come into the dock, they would have a load of bananas, and 4 or 5 of the crew back in the old days would be dead because of these poisonous spiders. Nobody knew what it was, so they just assumed bananas are bad. So there's that superstition. You can bring bananas on my boat any day. I don't care. I've eaten many banana on a boat because I think they're a great snack. If you're heading out in the morning, eat a banana and throw that peel in the trash, and you're good to go. But for some people, especially if you're going offshore fishing, that superstition will catch up. Now, if you're going out with friends and you're invited, don't bring don't bring an uninvited guest. Boats are a limited space. You have to have the safety equipment for everybody on board, a life jacket that fits for everybody on board. And if they don't know you're coming with a guest, they might not have the room. They might not have the safety equipment, and it's just sort of rude. So make sure if you're a guest on somebody's boat that if you do want to invite somebody, ask. Don't just bring them. Don't just show up at the dock and say, "Oh, babe, by the way, this is Johnny and Susie and Sarah." That may put some friction in your relationship. Another thing that you don't want to bring is just one of anything, especially if it's just for you. You're going out on the boat for the day and you bring a water, a snack pack of chips, and a Slim Jim, and you say, "Let's go." Well, if you're going to bring something and you're going to be on the water for the day, one, you're going to need more than just a bottle of water. If you're going out for more than even a couple of hours, make sure that you bring enough for yourself and maybe a little bit extra for everybody else on the boat. It's the polite thing to do. Coordinate with whoever you're going out with. And if you are the boat owner, hey, pack extra water, pack extra of everything, snacks, because if you're out for a long period of time, you get extra hungry, you get extra thirsty, and you don't want to run out. It's always better to have to come back and unload the cooler than come back because you ran out of whatever it is that you needed out there.
Let's pull up the anchor and run this podcast back to the dock. We'll be back again with another helpful and fun episode next time. If you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, visit boatbuyerssecretweapon.com/guest, and I'll help offer insights into your boat research and shopping experience. Also, we'd appreciate it if you took just 2 minutes to rate and review this podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. It helps others find us so we can help more boaters.
By the way, if you want to ensure you find the perfect boat at the lowest possible price so you can buy with 100% confidence, visit boatbuyerssecretweapon.com/academy for a short video and all the details.
Now, before we go, I want to leave you with a few first-time boating tips for when you own your new boat. Number 1, know your local boating laws, basic navigation rules, and how to operate your boat safely. It'll make boating even more fun for everyone. 2, be aware of your wake at all times and pay attention to no wake zones because you are responsible for your wake. When maneuvering at slow speeds, you can put out an enormous wake. If going slow, be courteous, save some fuel, and drop down to idle speed, just in forward gear to ensure there is no wake. This could save you an expensive ticket and will keep you from being that guy on your waterway. Number 3, boats do not have headlights. They have docking lights, specifically made for seeing in tight quarters and docking. Do not turn your docking lights on while cruising down the water. It can blind other boaters and is very dangerous and, again, could save you an expensive ticket. Number 4, follow the maintenance schedule for your boat. Change the oil, impeller, gear lube, winterize if you need to winterize in your area. Inspect your trailer tires, bearings, and grease the hubs if you're a trailer boater to ensure you don't experience expensive and unnecessary repairs that will impact your boating time. Number 5, always double check your plug is in, your battery is charged, and the fuel is full before heading out for a day on the water. It could just save your boating day. And if you're a trailer boater, I've got a few extra tips. Number 1, at the boat ramp, prepare your boat, your gear, and your guests in the staging area. Then, when you're ready, back down the ramp, unload the boat, head to the parking lot, and right back down to your boat to be fast and courteous to your fellow boaters and don't tie up that ramp unnecessarily. Next, use transom tie-down straps when trailing your boat. Very bad things can happen if you don't, and they do happen. 3, check everything in the boat is secure before heading down the road. Seat cushions, gear, keys, towels, even tubes and lily pads can get blown out when pulling your boat down the highway or interstate. And most important, have fun. Enjoy your boat and get on the water as much as possible, because life truly is better on a boat. Until next time, this is your friend in boating, Captain Matt.